The timber behind me split before I heard Brenna shout. A roof stone dropped where my left heel had been, hit the floor flat, and kicked dust against the lamp in my hand. I threw myself past the next brace. Brenna came after me on hands and knees. The second stone took the brace out. The third filled the gap from wall to wall. For a few breaths we stayed on the floor and listened to the mine bury the way home. Brenna coughed into her sleeve. Ulfgar. I know. Do you? I lifted the lamp. The fall had packed the cut tight enough that I could see no gap back through. I set my ear to the stone anyway. Miners do that even when the answer is plain. Rock carries hammer blows farther than men think. Rock also lies. A tap can sound near while it comes from 20 paces off. I heard none. Behind us waited the hole that Torvald had gone through the day before. That was how my brother and I came to be under the mountain with dead Nords between us and Dawnstar somewhere above my head. Hallgrim had called the old wall bad luck as soon as we found it. He had worked iron in the pale longer than I had, which made that hard for me to hear. I was 46 that winter. I had been below ground since my beard came in. Hallgrim had maybe 5 years on me and 2 fewer fingers. Men like us did not stop a cut because of marks on stone. At least I thought we did not. The seam had been poor for 6 days. Thin red streaks in gray stone. We were east of Dawnstar, far enough from Ironbreaker Mine that no one there cared how much ore we pulled, and far enough from Quicksilver Mine that men there only laughed when our carts came up half full. The owner had paid Hallgrim to chase the vein deeper. Hallgrim paid us by the cart. That was all the sense needed in a mine. Then Torvald set his pick into a crack and the wall answered hollow. He grinned at me. Hear that? I hear you wasting time. He hit it again. The knock came back from a space behind the rock. Brenna stopped loading the cart. Ostar, who had been trimming the roof with a short hammer, lowered his arm. Even Hallgrim came over from the next cut. Torvald hit the crack a third time. A chip fell away. Behind it sat dark stone cut flat by a hand, not by water or weight. Hallgrim pushed Torvald aside and scraped dirt from the face with his glove. 3 lines ran across it. They were not tool marks. Each line bent into small hooks and hard cuts. Nord work, Brenna muttered. Torvald laughed. We are Nords. All the work here is Nord work. Old Nord work. That shut him up for half a breath. All Skyrim seemed full of old Nord stone that year. Men came through Dawnstar with tales from Bleak Falls Barrow. Guards traded word of tombs opening near Whiterun. A peddler swore the dead were walking in halls where they had lain since the dragon cult. Most of us had heard worse tales before. Then Helgen burned. Dragons came back, and men stopped laughing quite so hard. Hallgrim traced one of the cuts with the stump of his smallest finger. No more picks here. Torvald made a face. There could be a room behind it. That is why there will be no more picks. There could be ore. Then the dead can spend it. I remember that line because I laughed. I should not have. No. That makes it sound as if a laugh caused the rest. Rock does not care if a man laughs. The wall had been there before my grandsire had a name, and we had put 6 days of hammerwork beside it. The bad part had already begun. Hallgrim sent Ostar to the surface with orders to fetch 2 Dawnstar guards. He wanted a priest as well if one could be spared, or a mage from the College of Winterhold if the owner cared to pay. The owner would not. We all knew that. The man counted lamp oil by the spoon. Torvald waited until Hallgrim went to check the west brace. Then he put his fingers into the crack. I slapped his wrist. Leave it. I am leaving it. Your hand is in it. I am checking it. With your hand. He smiled the way he always had when he knew he was being a bastard. Torvald was 4 years younger and had worn that smile since he stole dried apples from our mother and blamed a goat. Brenna told him, if that slab drops on you, I am taking your boots. They will not fit. I will sell them. He pulled his hand free. We went back to the seam. Half an hour later, the wall opened on its own. That is the part I still see when I shut my eyes. We did not break the face. No pick hit it. Oster had gone. Hallgrim was 30 paces off. Torvald and I were loading. Brenna was wedging a loose roof plate. The old cut gave a low crack, and the whole carved slab leaned toward us by the width of a thumb. Dust ran from the top edge. Torvald moved close before I could grab him. There is space. A breath came through the gap. I know how that sounds. Stone rooms have drafts. Old cuts pull wind. Shafts breathe when snow packs one mouth and leaves another free. I had known all that since I was a boy. This draft smelled of old oil and dry cloth. Torvald put his lamp near the seam. The flame bent inward. Hallgrim came back at a run. Get away from it! The floor gave under Torvald. One moment he had both boots on our side. The next, the rock beneath his right foot split and he dropped to his hip. I caught his arm. Brenna caught my belt. The carved slab tipped farther, opening a black line from floor to roof. Torvald kicked for a hold. The edge under me sheared. His hand tore out of mine. He fell through the slit. I heard him hit stone below. Then his lamp struck and went dark. I called his name until he answered. Ulfgar. His voice came from down and back, maybe 15 feet, maybe more. Are you hurt? Leg. I can move it, I think. Hallgrim shoved a pry bar into the gap before the slab could shift again. Brenna drove a wedge beside it. I got onto my belly and pushed my lamp through. The light found steps, not a natural hole, not a cave. Steps of black stone ran down under the mine wall. The sides were carved with men in long robes bowing toward winged shapes. At the bottom, maybe 20 steps down, Torvald sat against a square pillar and held his knee. Stay there, I told him. He held up one hand. Was planning on it. Hallgrim knelt beside me. His face had gone hard. We rope him. We tried. The slit was too narrow for a man, but wide enough for the rope. I tied a loop and lowered it. Torvald reached. He had it around his chest when a sound came from below him, a stone scrape. Torvald went still. Brenna whispered, What was that? Torvald did not answer. The lamp showed a doorway behind the pillar. I had taken it for more black wall. A pale hand lay on the floor inside it. The hand moved. Torvald ripped the rope free and crawled away from the door. I shouted at him to come back under the slit. He tried. His bad leg folded. The pale hand pulled a body into view. I had seen draugr once before, years ago, after a grave robber opened a mound south of Morthal and 3 hold guards went in to clear it. The guards dragged one body back for burning. That dead Nord had been dry as old hide and bound in strips of cloth. Its eyes had been dark. The eyes below us burned blue. Torvald threw his dead lamp at it and crawled down the steps because the doorway cut him off from us. Torvald. He vanished beyond the pillar. The draugr followed. Hallgrim and Brenna pulled me back as I tried to force my shoulders through the gap. The slab shifted. Stone slammed shut between us. For the next 10 hours, Hallgrim tried to open it without bringing the mine roof down. We cut around the face. We set wedges. We dug under. Twice we heard knocks from behind the wall. 3 hits. Pause. 3 hits. The old miner call for alive. I answered each time with my hammer. Near midnight the knocks stopped. Ostar came back with 1 Dawnstar guard and no priest. The other guard had been sent west because a dragon had been seen above the road. Jarl Skald had men stretched from the coast to the hills, and 1 lost miner did not weigh much beside dragons in the war. The guard took 1 glance at the carved slab and told us to wait until dawn. Hallgrim agreed. I did not. Brenna found me at the tool shed, wrapping rope around my shoulder. You will need a second lamp, she told me. I stared at her. She held one up. That was Brenna. She could make a choice sound like an insult. Halgrim barred the main cut when he saw us coming. No. Move. Your brother may be alive. You go in blind and we lose too. 3, Brenna told him. He glared at her. She shrugged. Count right. Halgrim leaned close to me. The guard sent word to Dawnstar. More men will come. Maybe a priest. When? He had no answer. Torvald has no lamp, no food, maybe a bad leg. And draugr. That changes the time, not the job. Halgrim cursed. He knew that line because it was one he had used on me when a roof fall pinned Ostar 3 winters before. You do not leave a miner under rock while you wait for a better plan. You dig. He let us pass. We could not reopen the first slit. We found a thinner wall 6 paces north where the old stone met raw rock. Brenna and I worked it with hand picks, slow and close, taking chips no bigger than a thumb. Near dawn, we opened a crawl space. Halgrim tied a rope around my waist. You find the boy, you come back. Torvald was 32. Halgrim still called him boy when he was angry. If the cut shifts, pull twice, I told him. If the cut shifts, I will pull whether you ask or not. Brenna crawled in after me. 10 paces down, the roof came loose. That was where I began this tale, with stone behind us and the rope gone under a weight I could not move. Brenna rose beside me and tested her right shoulder. Still works. You hit it? Only enough to make me hate you. You hated me before. Then I am well. I set my lamp low and checked the passage. We were inside the old place now, properly inside. The mine had cut through its back wall high above the main floor. The passage sloped down under a ceiling made from fitted stone. Thick roots pushed through some seams. Others were tight enough to stop a knife. On both walls, rows of carved men knelt before dragons. I had seen the beast over Helgen only from a charcoal sketch passed around a tavern in Dawnstar. The man who drew it had been there after the town burned. He had put too many teeth in the mouth, I thought. Looking at the carvings, I stopped thinking that. Brenna kept her lamp away from the walls. Dragon cult. You know that? My mother took me to Windhelm once. A priest there talked about old Nord tombs until I near died of it. Useful mother. She also taught me not to crawl into them. We found Torvald at the first turn. For one wild breath, I thought we had found him alive. A man sat against the wall ahead with his knees up and head bowed. I ran 3 steps. Brenna caught my coat. The man wore old iron on his chest and rotted cloth around his arms. Draugr. It did not move. A fresh scrape crossed the dust beside its foot. Torvald had passed it. I saw his boot mark 2 paces on, deep heel, worn outer edge. I had patched those boots myself. He came this way, I whispered. Brenna pointed to the wall. A black smear ran across the stone at knee height. Blood, not much, enough. The passage dropped again. Depth means one thing in a mine: cost. Every step down has to come back up in ore, in timber, in sweat. A shaft that goes too deep can eat a good seam because hauling costs more than the iron pays. Men who own mines forget that. Stone never does. That old tomb had been built by men who wanted depth for its own sake. Every stair took us farther from the mine. Every door closed the sound above. The place bent under the mountain in long square runs. Whoever made it had cut around hard rock instead of through it, then faced the walls with blocks. I could see the joints. I could see where weight had shifted over the years. I could see where a pillar leaned a finger width and where a roof plate had cracked. Those things I knew. The dead I did not. At the foot of the second stair, we found 3 stone beds set into the wall. Each held a wrapped body. Brenna raised her hammer. Do not touch them, I told her. Had not planned to. One bed was empty. We passed in single file. My lamp threw our shapes ahead of us. I kept seeing a third shape between them. Each time I stopped, it was a carved pillar or a hanging strip of root. The corridor opened into a room with a round pit in the center. Stone shelves covered the walls. Clay jars sat on them, most sealed with dark wax. A table stood near the pit with bronze hooks laid in a row. Brenna stared at the hooks. Do not ask. I was not going to. Good. A fresh boot print crossed spilled dust by the pit. Torvald had come through here fast. His right foot dragged. I knelt to check the mark. Brenna hissed. I snapped my lamp up. One of the jars had begun to shake. Tap, tap, tap. The sound came from inside it. Brenna backed toward the door. The next jar answered. Then another. I did not wait to learn what was in them. We crossed the room at a run. The far door had a stone bar on our side. Torvald had left it raised. We passed through, dropped it into its rests, and heard clay smash behind us. Brenna leaned both hands on the bar. A wet scrape crossed the other side of the door. Then a knock. 3 hits, pause, 3 hits. I stepped back so fast my heel hit the wall. Brenna stared at me. 3 hits, pause, 3 hits. The minor call. Torvald, I shouted. A sound came through the stone, low, dry. 3 hits. Brenna reached for the bar. I grabbed her wrist. No. If that is him. He went ahead. His print goes ahead. Could have come back. I lowered the lamp. In the dust at our feet ran one set of tracks. Torvald had gone one way. No tracks came back. The thing behind the door hit it again. 3 times. I had taught Torvald that call when he was 14. We left it there. I am not sure why I am telling you that part first. No. I know why. I want you to know the dead down there learned us. They did not wander and groan like tales told to scare children. They listened. The next hall narrowed enough that my shoulders near touched both walls. Long slots cut the floor at even steps. Brenna stopped me before I put my boot over the first. Wire. A thin cord crossed shin-high, dark with age. I crouched. The cord ran into a hole in the wall. Trap. I gathered that. Let me think. You have until the jars catch us. I studied the ceiling. Small square holes ran above the slots. Darts, maybe. Brenna picked up a loose bit of stone and tossed it through the cord. The wall snapped. 3 iron spikes shot across the passage. One hit stone hard enough to bend. She grinned. Darts. You could have waited. I did. I waited until you were done talking. We stepped over the cord. The second trap had no wire. I saw a floor stone worn brighter than the rest and put my pick across it. The plate sank under the weight. A blade swung from a seam in the wall and cut the pick shaft in half. Brenna stared at the short handle in my hand. That was your good pick. I know. Bad day. Keep moving. We marked each plate with chalk. Torvald had crossed the same hall with a bad leg and no lamp. I found a smear of blood on one wall where he had caught himself. Beyond it, a blade hung jammed halfway out. A strip of his coat was caught on the edge. He had learned the hall by paying for it. At the far end, we found his first message. He had scratched it into the dust with a finger. Alive. Then an arrow cut down and right. Brenna sat against the wall for one breath and laughed through her nose. Stubborn bastard. Runs in the family. No, you are worse. I touched the letters. The dust was soft at the edges. Fresh enough. Torvald had been there after the first roof fall sealed him away from us. Maybe hours before. We went down. The stair ended at a door made from iron bars. It hung open. Beyond it lay a wide chamber with stone tables in 2 rows. Bodies lay on each, not wrapped this time. Draugr in helms and old mail. Axes on their chests. Swords at their sides. Brenna breathed. Talos keep us. Talos has work above. Then ask one of the 8. You ask. Coward. A live coward. We moved between the tables. I counted 12 bodies. Counting helped. 12 meant I could track where each lay. 4 left row, then 8 right and far. It made the room into work. At the 6th table, one head moved, only a little. Its blue eye fixed on my lamp. I stopped. Brenna stopped behind me. The draugr opened its mouth. I raised one finger. We backed away. Its hand closed around the axe on its chest. Run, I told her. We ran. Stone scraped on stone behind us as more bodies rose. Brenna reached the far door first. It was shut. Ulfgar! I threw my shoulder into it. No give. She found a round iron pull set into the wall. Here. We hauled together. A latch lifted inside the stone. The door opened by the width of an arm. A draugr hit me from behind. I went face first into the door edge. My lamp flew through the gap. Brenna screamed my name. The dead Nord had both hands on my coat. Its grip pressed my ribs flat. I drove the stub of my pick handle back into its face. Once, twice. Its teeth snapped near my ear. Brenna struck its wrist with her hammer. Bone cracked. One hand dropped. I twisted free and squeezed through the door. Brenna came after me. A dead arm reached through before we could close it. We pushed. The stone door ground against the forearm. The draugr did not pull back. Brenna put both boots against the floor and shoved until the arm split at the elbow. The door shut. The hand stayed on our side, fingers opening and closing. Brenna hit it until it stopped. Then she bent over and vomited beside the wall. I sat with my back to the door and pressed 2 fingers to my mouth. Blood came away from my split lip. You alive? Brenna asked. Ask me later. That is not how alive works. Then yes. She wiped her mouth. Good. The dead pounded the door. We moved. Past that room, the old place changed. The walls had fewer tomb beds and more carved stone. Dragons filled whole panels. Men knelt under them with both hands raised. One carving showed a robed man wearing a long mask. Smaller men lay flat at his feet. Brenna kept her lamp low. Priest. You know that too? Same priest in Windhelm, dragon priests. Serve the dragons. He'd tell you how to kill one? I stopped listening before that part. Useful mother. She gave me a hard stare. Say that again and I will feed you to one. The floor shook. Dust sifted from a seam. We both froze. The pounding behind us stopped. A sound rolled through the tomb from far below. It was too deep for a man and too long for rockfall. The stones under my boots hummed with it. Brenna whispered, Dragon? No room. That did not answer me. I had no better answer. Later I learned that men at High Hrothgar could shake a mountain with the Thuum. I had heard the graybeards once from the road, a sound far off that rolled through my teeth. What came from under us had that weight, only muffled by half a mountain. We kept going because Torvald had gone that way. That is the full truth of it. If he had been any other man, I would have climbed until my nails came off trying to get back to Hallgrim. I would have waited for Dawnstar guards, for the College of Winterhold, for the Dragonborn people had begun to talk about in taverns. I would have given the old dead all the time in Nirn. Torvald was down there. So I went down. The next room held a well. At least I called it a well. It was a round shaft cut through the floor with stone steps spiraling along the wall. No rail, no center post. The shaft dropped farther than our lamps could show. A rope lay tied around one of the top stones. My rope, the one we had lowered to Torvald through the first slit. He had dragged it with him. Smart, Brenna murmured. Sometimes. The rope went down the stair. We followed. 10 turns lower, we found where Torvald had tied a loop around a carved post. Blood marked the knot. He had used it to lower himself past 3 missing steps. Brenna went first. I braced the rope around my back and paid it out. She landed on the lower ledge, then held the line while I came down. On the far wall, a side passage ran off into black. We found Torvald boot marks going into it. We found draugr prints coming out, bare feet, long toes, dust pressed deep at the front as if the body had run. Brenna pointed her hammer toward the main stair. We can keep down. He went side. So did they. He went side. She rubbed her face with one hand. Damn you. Fair. We went side. That passage had been cut through raw stone after the rest of the tomb. The chisel marks were rough. The roof dipped. In places, old wood braces had been set against cracks. And the sight of timber under there hit me harder than the dead. Miners had been in the tomb before us, not our crew, not our. The wood was black with age and dry enough to flake under a nail. Iron spikes held it where they could. A rusted shovel lay by one wall. Brenna crouched beside it. How old? Long. Helpful. Longer than any mine I know in the Pale. We found a skeleton 10 paces on, not draugr. A miner by the shape of the boots and the iron wedge still hooked through his belt. His skull had a split across the crown. Beside him lay a leather pouch. I opened it. Inside were 3 septums black with dirt. Brenna stared at them. Leave them. I did. That bothered me more than it should. A man had come into that place for pay, same as us. 3 septums had stayed by his hip while his bones dried. I could not read his name from bone. I could read the wedge. The side cut ended at a wall someone had tried to breach. Pick marks covered the stone. A crack had opened at chest height. Torvald had squeezed through. His blood marked both sides. Brenna tested the edges. I hate him. Get in line. She went first because she was smaller through the shoulder. I pushed her lamp after. Then I took off my coat and squeezed sideways. Halfway through, my belt caught. Behind me came a foot scrape. I stopped breathing. Brenna whispered from the far side, "Move." I pulled. The buckle held. A blue light appeared in the passage behind me. 1 eye, then 2. A draugr came around the bend. "Ulfgar, I see it. Then move. I am caught." She grabbed my arm and pulled. The buckle bit into stone. The draugr came faster. I ripped the belt free. My tool pouch dropped behind me. The dead Nord lunged. Brenna hauled me through as an axe struck the crack. Sparks jumped past my boot. We fell in a heap. The axe came through again. The gap was too narrow for its shoulders. I lay on the floor and laughed. Brenna slapped my arm. "What is wrong with you?" "My good wedges were in that pouch." She stared for 1 beat, then laughed too. The draugr hacked at the opening. We crawled away, still laughing, which was mad. There was no joy in it. My chest had gone too tight and needed a way to let the breath out. The chamber beyond had once been a storeroom. Clay lamps lay stacked in wall cuts. Most were empty. 2 held thick oil that still burned when Brenna tested a drop. "Take it," I told her. She filled our spare flask. I found Torvald coat on the floor. Not a strip this time. The whole thing. Blood darkened the right sleeve. I picked it up and called his name. No answer. Brenna studied the floor. Tracks. Bare footmarks crossed Torvald prints. There had been a fight. His hammer lay by the wall with old hair stuck to its head. A draugr body slumped in the corner. The skull had caved at one temple. Torvald had killed it. I smiled before I could stop myself. "Stubborn bastard," Brenna muttered. "Runs in the family. This time, yes." The far door was open. On its frame, Torvald had drawn another mark in blood, 2 lines like an arrow, down. Brenna sat on a crate that crumbled under her weight. She caught herself against the wall. "We need to talk." "No. Ulfgar. We can talk while we move. I have 1 lamp flask after the spare. You have half. We lost your tools. My shoulder is stiff. You have blood down your chin. Lip. Very brave lip. We are cut off from Halgrim. We have draugr behind us and more ahead. Your brother has gone deeper each time he had a choice. He was being chased. Maybe. I knew what she meant. I hated her for meaning it. Say it. Maybe he heard a way out. Maybe he saw one. Or maybe that place is pulling him down. Stone does not pull men. Septums do, fear does, voices do, pick one. He is hurt. I know. Then move. She caught my sleeve. If I tell you we have to go back, will you? No. If I tell you he may be dead? No. If I tell you we may die with him? I did not answer. She released me. That is what I thought. We went down. The next stair had names carved along both walls. I could not read them. Dragon marks, maybe, or old Nord runes. Some were cut deep. Others had been scratched over as if men later tried to erase them. At the bottom stood a door shaped like a dragon head. A round stone disc filled its mouth. 3 bands circled the disc, each carved with beasts. Brenna swore. Puzzle. Door. Same thing if you cannot open it. Torvald blood marked the outer ring. He had moved it. I put both hands on the stone. It shifted with a hard scrape. The rings could turn. He solved it, Brenna told me. Then he left it solved. It is shut. I studied the floor. A fresh drag line curved from the outer ring. Another marked the middle. Torvald had moved them after he passed. He shut it behind him. Why? A heavy blow came from the passage above. The draugr had found the storeroom gap. Another blow. Closer. Brenna lifted the lamp to the carvings. A bear moth, owl. How do you know? I have eyes. Useful. I will kill you before the dead do. I checked the blood marks. Torvald had a bad right hand when he worked tired. He dragged his thumb after a push. On the outer ring, his smear ended below the bear, middle below the moth, inner below the owl. Bear, moth, owl. We set them. I pushed the center. The disc sank. Stone gears moved inside the wall. The door lifted. We went under. I slapped the disc on the far side. The door came down behind us. A draugr axe hit the last gap before the stone sealed. The blade snapped. Brenna breathed out. Your brother is smarter than I gave him credit for. Do not tell him. I plan to charge him. The chamber ahead was huge. Our lamps could not reach the roof. Pillars rose in 2 rows, each carved as a dragon wrapped around stone. At the far end, a wall curved upward in a half circle. Marks covered it from floor to as high as the light went. A word wall. I did not know that name then. I knew only that the marks were bigger than those on the passages, and that the stone around them had been cut with more care than any hall above. Brenna took 1 step in. A low sound came from the wall. Not a voice. Not one I could make sense of. My lamp flame bent toward the carvings. I backed up. Do you hear that? Brenna had gone pale. Yes. The sound pressed through my ribs. One group of marks near the center seemed darker than the rest. I do not mean they glowed. They did not. My eyes kept going to them even when I tried to study the floor. A shout came from the far side of the chamber. Ulfgar! Torvald. I ran. Brenna yelled after me. A stone bridge crossed a trench in the middle of the room. I reached it before I saw the gap. 1 slab had fallen away. I stopped with both arms out, boot half over black space. Ulfgar! Torvald called again from beyond the pillars. I am here! Do not cross! That got through to me. I lowered the lamp. The trench below held bodies. Dozens. Some wore old armor. Some wore scraps of fur. Some wore clothes that could have been 100 years old or 10. Bones filled the spaces between them. One body moved, then another. Blue eyes opened below. Brenna reached me and grabbed my sleeve. Back! Torvald is there. He told you not to cross. A draugr pulled itself up from the trench. I set my lamp down and took Brenna hammer because mine had gone with the pouch. What are you doing? Giving him a reason. The dead Nord climbed onto the bridge. I waited until both hands cleared the edge. Then I hit the fingers. Bone cracked. The draugr slipped, caught one elbow, and snapped its teeth at my boot. Brenna poured lamp oil over its face. Move. I moved. She dropped a flame. The draugr burned. It fell back into the trench and took 2 waking dead with it. More eyes lit below. That was our oil, I told her. Send me a bill. Torvald called from the far side. There is another way, left wall. We ran along the trench edge. A narrow ledge passed behind the left row of pillars. Torvald had marked it with blood. His trail led through a side arch. The word wall sound faded behind us. I heard the dead climbing from the trench. We found Torvald in a room with a stone door braced by a spear. He sat on the floor with his back to the wall. His face was gray under the dirt. His right trouser leg had been cut away. A strip from his coat bound the knee. Blood had soaked through. For a breath I could not move. He smiled. Took you long enough? I hit him, not hard. My fist caught his shoulder. Then I grabbed him around the neck and held on. He made a sound between a laugh and a cry. Easy, you stupid bastard. Good to see you too. I pulled back and checked his face, his arms, his leg. Can you stand? If you do not hit me again. Brenna dropped to one knee beside him. What happened? Torvald glanced at her. You came too? No, you are seeing a dead woman. Would explain the face. She slapped his bad leg. He screamed. Alive, she told him. I nearly laughed again. Then the spear bracing the door jumped. Once. Torvald pointed. That has been going on for a while. A blow hit the other side. The spear bent. How many? I asked. 3 when I came in. More now, I think. Why did you go so deep? Because they kept coming from behind. You could have waited by the first steps. There was one there. You could have hidden. I did, in here. After crossing half the damn tomb, he met my eyes. Ulfgar, I did not choose the way. Every door I shut woke more of them. Every room had one path that was not full of dead. It kept going down. Brenna muttered. Told you. I shot her a glare. Torvald gripped my sleeve. There is worse. The door shook. Worse than that? A priest. Brenna stopped smiling. Torvald pointed toward a second arch behind us. I saw it in the big room past there, mask, robes, floating. Floating. Feet off the floor, I know what I saw. Was it awake? Not at first. Brenna closed her eyes. Of course. I leaned closer. What did you do? Torvald got angry then. I ran. Before. I went into the room. Why? Because the other way had 6 draugr in it. I went around the edge. The priest lay in a stone box. I did not touch it. Then what woke it? The wall. My mouth went dry. What wall? The one with the dragon marks. Another one, smaller. I got near it and heard... He rubbed both hands over his face. Heard what? My name? The spear jumped again. Torvald whispered, It used your voice. Brenna and I did not speak. I knew it was wrong, Torvald went on. I knew you were above. I knew. I still went near. The marks got loud. The box opened behind me. Word wall, Brenna murmured. What? That is what the priest in Windhelm called them. Walls with the dragon tongue. The greybeards know words from them, the dragonborn too, if half the tales are right. Torvald stared at her. It called me. Walls do not call men. This one did. I heard myself answer, Stone does not pull men. Brenna gave me a grim glance. The spear split. We had maybe a minute. Other way out? I asked. Torvald pointed to the arch behind him. Past the priest room there are stairs up. I saw them before it woke. Up to where? Do I look like I had time to check? Fair. I got under his right arm and hauled him upright. He bit his lip until blood came. Brenna took his other side. The spear cracked again. Can you put weight on it? Some. Then some will do. We moved through the rear arch. The passage bent twice and opened above the priest chamber. A narrow stone walk ran along one wall. Below us lay a room shaped like a long bowl. At the center stood an open stone coffin. No priest, I whispered. Where? Torvald pointed to the far end. A stair climbed from the chamber to a high doorway. That was our way. Brenna studied the floor below. How far? 20 paces down, 30 across. Any other path? Torvald shook his head. A crash came from behind us. The spear had gone. We climbed down. The room had 6 pillars. Between them lay dead men in old robes. Some had masks carved from wood or bone. None moved. The open coffin had marks cut all around its rim. I kept my eyes off it. Fast, Brenna told us. Torvald hopped between us. We reached the 3rd pillar. A blue light moved near the ceiling. Brenna saw it first. Down! She shoved Torvald. A spear of ice crossed where his head had been and burst against stone. The dragon priest came from behind the far pillar. Torvald had not lied about the floating. Its robes hung in strips but did not drag. Its feet stayed above the floor. A mask covered the whole face, metal or stone, I could not tell in that light. Blue fire burned in both hands. I had no sword. Brenna had a minor hammer. Torvald could barely stand. The priest lifted one hand. Pillar! We threw ourselves behind the nearest one. Ice struck the edge. Chips cut my cheek. Draugr entered the room behind us. 3 through the arch. The priest waited ahead. Torvald started laughing. I grabbed his coat. What? You told me to stay by the steps. Shut up. Good plan. Shut up. Brenna pressed her back to the pillar. I have 1 oil flask. Will it burn the priest? How in oblivion would I know? The dead spread out behind us. I checked the stone. The pillar was old, 1 piece at the base, stacked drums above. A crack ran through the bottom block. I put my fingers into it. Brenna stared. Now? Wait. Ulfgar. The roof load comes down these 6. This one is shifted. Can you drop it? With a wedge. She stared at me. My wedges were in the passage with the draugr. Torvald reached into his coat and pulled out an iron wedge. I almost kissed him. Found it by a dead miner, he told me. Useful bastard. The priest sent another ice spear past the pillar. I drove the wedge into the crack with Brenna hammer. Once, twice. The noise drew the draugr faster. Torvald crouched with the dead spear he had pulled from the floor. How many hits? If I knew, I would be a mason. You are a miner. Worse pay. 3 more hits, the crack climbed. The pillar gave a low pop. Brenna poured oil across the floor between us and the draugr. 1 dead Nord stepped into it. She tossed the lamp wick. Flame ran across the stone. The draugr kept coming, its wrappings caught. Torvald jabbed the spear into its chest and used the shaft to shove it into the one behind. Now would be good, Brenna yelled. I hit the wedge again. The bottom block split. The pillar dropped half a hand. Every stone above it shifted. The sound went up into the roof. I knew that sound. Run. We ran for the stair. The priest moved toward us. It spoke 1 word. I cannot give you the word. I heard it as a blow through my skull. The floor hit me before I knew I had fallen. Brenna rolled past. Torvald slid on his bad leg and screamed. A whole pillar toppled behind us. The roof came with it. Stone hit stone in a chain. 1 slab crushed a burning draugr. Another cut the room in half. Dust swallowed the blue light around the priest. I crawled to Torvald and dragged him by the coat. Brenna reached the stair and pulled from above. The chamber fell in behind our boots. We climbed. The stairs ran up 12 steps, bent, then ran up again. I carried most of Torvald by then. Brenna pushed from below. The fall kept going under us. For 10 breaths I thought we had buried the priest. Then blue light filled the stair from below. Brenna glanced back. Damn! A shape rose through the dust. The dragon priest floated over the rubble. One arm hung wrong. Its mask had a crack across one side. It raised the other hand. We ran harder. The stair ended at a round room with 3 doors. 2 were sealed stone. The third stood open. Torvald pointed. That one. How do you know? I do not. Good enough. We went through. The passage beyond climbed. That was the first good thing in hours. Up is hope in a mine. I know I'm not meant to say it like that. Hope is too big a word for a tunnel. Up means less rock over your head. Up means a chance at a draft. Up means water runs away from you instead of toward you. That is enough. The floor rose steep enough that Torvald had to crawl. I took his belt in one hand and pulled. Brenna kept the lamp. Behind us came no footfalls. Only the scrape of cloth where no cloth should have moved so fast. The priest did not need stairs the way we did. We passed a side chamber full of urns. Another with old weapons rusted into racks. Another with 3 draugr still sleeping upright against the wall. We did not wake them. At the next bend, a steel gate blocked the passage. I grabbed the bars. Locked. Brenna searched the walls. Torvald sank against the floor. Leave me! I kicked him. He cursed. Say it again. Gate is locked. Not that. I am slowing you. You have always slowed me, since birth. Ulfgar. Find the latch. Brenna found a lever in a wall cut on the far side of the bars, too far to reach. I lay flat and pushed my arm through, fingers short by a hand. The blue light bent around the last corner below. Torvald crawled beside me. Use the spear. He still had half the shaft. I took it, hooked the lever and pulled. The gate rose. Slow. Too slow. Brenna shoved Torvald under as soon as there was space. I followed. The gate edge scraped my back. The dragon priest came around the corner. Brenna rolled through and kicked the lever back. The gate dropped. The priest raised one hand. I threw myself over Torvald. Blue fire struck the bars. Frost burst across iron. The whole gate went white. The priest hit it again. One bar cracked. Move! Brenna yelled. We moved. The passage beyond was not part of the tomb. I knew it at once. Raw rock, pick cuts, old timber, a mine. The dead miner cut from before had joined the tomb here. I touched one brace and it shed black dust. This can go up, I told them. Brenna stared at the slope. Or down. Watermarks run this way. See the dark line? Melt comes from above. Then lead. We climbed. The gate behind us broke. Metal rang once, then twice. We did not wait for the third. The old mine wound through the mountain in tight cuts. Whoever had dug it had followed a vein of iron that pinched out every few paces and came back. I could see where men had given up, then tried again. They had left tools, baskets, a snapped wheel, and one little shrine to Dibella made from 3 stones and a bit of carved wood. Brenna touched the shrine as she passed. Wrong divine for this. Take any help. Fair. The cut split. I checked the walls. Left had better timber but dipped. Right climbed and smelled of wet stone. Right. We took it. Torvald was near done. His face had gone white around the mouth. I put his arm over my shoulders. Tell me about the goat, I told him. What goat? Mother apples. He groaned. You know that tale. Tell it. Now. Now. You are mad. Talk. He knew what I was doing. A hurt man who talks is a man I can count. A man who goes mute may be slipping away. I ate the apples, he muttered. Louder. I ate the bloody apples. And? Told Mother the goat got in. There was no goat. There was a goat. Not ours. That did not matter. Brenna gave a breath of a laugh. Behind us, wood snapped. Torvald stopped talking. Keep going, I told him. Mother hit me with the spoon. Wood spoon. Iron. Liar. Felt like iron. Good. Again. He cursed me and kept climbing. The old cut narrowed to shoulder width. That saved us. The dragon priest could move through it, but not fast. Its robes caught on jagged stone. Blue light flashed behind bends. Each time it came near, Brenna and I shoved loose rock into the cut. We could not stop it. We could make it pay for each pace. That is mining, too. You do not beat a mountain. You make the mountain give you one cart at a time. At the fourth bend, I saw a brace with fresh rot at the foot. Brenna, lamp. She raised it. The roof above the brace was split into 3 plates. Can you drop it? Yes. You sure? No. She handed me the hammer. Torvald leaned against the wall and breathed through his teeth. The priest light came closer. I hit the brace at the rotten foot. The first blow sank deep, second cracked it, third kicked the timber sideways, the roof sagged, I ran. Brenna dragged Torvald. The priest came into view behind us. The roof dropped between us with a roar. Rock filled the cut. We kept climbing. No blue light came through. Torvald sagged against me. Got it? For now. Brenna shook her head. You keep saying things like that and the dead keep proving you wrong. Then stop asking. We had gone maybe 50 paces when the tomb shook again. Not from behind, from below all around us. The priest was doing something under the fall. Stone dust came from the roof. I checked the brace ahead, old, dry, bent. Faster. Torvald could not. I put him over my back. He protested. Save breath. You will drop me. I dropped you once when you were 6. You remember that? Mother did? You blamed the dog. There was a dog. Brenna barked one laugh. Both of you are liars. We climbed. The cut opened into a natural cave. Water dripped from the roof. Thin ice covered the left wall. A black pool took up half the floor. I smelled outside then. Snow, pine, smoke maybe. Brenna smelled it too. Her face changed. Surface. Close. A narrow crack high on the far wall showed gray light. Morning. Torvald lifted his head from my back. Dawnstar? Maybe. I will take anywhere. We crossed the cave. The pool cracked under Brenna boot. She jumped back. A pale hand broke through the ice. She shouted and fell. Another hand came up, then a head wrapped in black cloth. Draugr had been lying under the water. 3 of them. The first caught Brenna ankle. I dropped Torvald and hit the wrist with the hammer. The dead pulled harder. Brenna kicked with her free foot. The ice gave under her hip. She went into the pool. I grabbed both her arms. The water was black and near iced over. Draugr hands closed on her coat. Cut it, she yelled. With what? Torvald crawled to us and used the spear shaft like a pry bar. He jammed it under the dead wrist at her ankle. I pulled. The coat tore. Brenna came out of it and slid across the ice in her wool shirt. A draugr climbed after her. Torvald shoved the spear across its throat. I swung the hammer down on its hand. Brenna scrambled toward the wall. Another dead Nord broke the ice behind me. I ran. Torvald tried to rise and fell. I went back for him. Leave me, he gasped. I hit him again. You are enjoying that. A little. I dragged him toward the crack. Brenna was shivering hard now. Her wet trousers had begun to stiffen in the cave chill. We need fire, she told me. We need out. I will not make 10 minutes like this. She was right. The draugr came across the cave. The surface crack was 8 feet above the floor, too small at the bottom and wider at the top. Old roots hung through it. I tested one. Strong. Torvald first. Brenna nodded. We tied the rope under his arms. I climbed halfway by the roots and braced both feet against the rock. Brenna pushed from below. Draugr boots hit the cave floor. Torvald got into the crack. Pull! I pulled. He crawled upward. Brenna swung her hammer at the first draugr. The blow glanced off its helm. It hit her with the back of one hand. She fell against the wall. Brenna! I let the rope slide 2 feet. Torvald yelled from above. I climbed down. The draugr raised an axe over Brenna. I hit its knee from the side. The leg folded wrong. It fell against me. Its face came within a hand of mine, teeth black, eye fire blue. I drove the hammer into its jaw. Brenna rolled away. The second draugr reached us. Torvald shouted from the crack. Oil! Brenna flask. She had dropped it near the pool. I ran for it. A dead hand caught my coat. I tore free, scooped the flask, and threw it to Brenna. She caught it against her chest. Last one. Use it. She poured a line over the ice. I threw her my lamp. She smashed it. Flame crossed the oil. The first draugr stepped into it. Fire climbed its wrappings. The second came around. Brenna kicked the burning body into it. Both fell onto the weak ice. The sheet cracked. They went through. Climb! Brenna took the rope. I pushed her toward the wall. She stopped. You first. You are wet. You have the hammer. You are wet. Damn you! Get up. She climbed. I kept the hammer. The third draugr came across the far side of the pool. Behind it, blue light appeared through the old mine cut. The roof fall had not stopped the priest. Of course it had not. Brenna reached the crack. Torvald pulled from above. I backed toward the roots. The draugr came fast. The priest entered the cave behind it. Its cracked mask had lost one side. Under the metal was a face so dry the skin sat close to bone. One blue eye burned brighter than the draugr eyes. It lifted its hand. I climbed. Ice struck the wall below my boot. The roots shook. I got one knee into the crack. A draugr hand closed around my ankle. I kicked. It held. Ulfgar! Torvald yelled. Brenna reached down from above. I swung the hammer backward without seeing. First hit stone. Second hit fingers. The grip loosened. I climbed 2 feet. The priest spoke again. The sound hit the cave wall. The roots tore loose. I fell. Not all the way. Brenna caught my wrist. Her other hand held a rock lip. Torvald had both hands around her belt. Below, the draugr jumped and missed my boot. The priest floated closer. Brenna teeth chattered. Climb. Your hand. Climb. I caught the edge with my free hand. My nails bent. Torvald pulled Brenna. Brenna pulled me. I got my chest into the crack. The draugr jumped again. Its fingers caught my boot heel. The boot came off. I crawled upward with one socked foot. The crack narrowed around my shoulders. Rocks scraped my back and chest. Torvald pulled my coat. Brenna pushed from below once she got above me. The priest light filled the cave. Then the crack bent. The light vanished. We crawled toward Gray. The stone slit opened under snow. Torvald broke the crust with both hands and daylight poured in. I have worked dawn shifts all my life. I had seen the sun come over the pale in every month. That gray sky was the finest sight I ever saw. Torvald dragged himself out first. Brenna came next. I pushed from below. She rolled onto the snow and lay there shaking. I came out last. The opening sat on a steep north slope above a line of pines. Dawnstar was not in sight. The sea of ghosts showed as a dark strip far beyond the hills. We were maybe 2 miles from the mine mouth, maybe 3. The crack behind us was too narrow for a draugr shoulder. I told myself that twice. Brenna was in worse shape than either of us. Her shirt had iced hard along one side. I stripped off my coat and put it around her. Torvald gave up what remained of his coat as well. Fire, she managed. We had no lamp, no oil, no flint. Mine had gone with my tool pouch. Torvald reached into his trouser pocket and pulled out a striker. I stared at him. What? You had that the whole time? Had what? Flint. You never asked. Brenna laughed once and coughed. I could have killed him. We crawled down to the pines and built a fire under a rock shelf. Dry needles took, small branches next. then wrist-thick wood. Brenna sat close, wrapped in both coats, while steam rose from her trousers. Torvald lay with his bad leg straight. I checked the bandage. The knee had swollen near twice its size. The cut above it was deep but had stopped bleeding. "You need a potion of healing," I told him. "You got one?" "No." "Useful. Dawnstar will. If we make it. We make it." Brenna opened one eye. "You two always talk this much?" "Only when he is hurt." Torvald threw a pine cone at me. For the first time since we went under, I let myself think we had done it. That was my next mistake. The mountain gave a low sound behind us. All three of us heard it. I rose. Snow slid from a branch. The sound came again, stone shifting deep below. Torvald stared up the slope at the crack. "Can it get through?" "No." Brenna studied me. "You sure?" "No." We did not wait for her clothes to dry. I made a drag from 2 young pine trunks and rope. Torvald argued until I shoved him onto it. Brenna could walk once we got blood back into her legs, but she leaned on my shoulder. We headed north and west by the slope of the land. The Pale gives few places to hide. Gray hill, white field, dark pine, then open ground all the way to the coast. On a clear day you can see smoke from Dawnstar before you see roofs. That morning snow came thick enough to hide 10 paces. Good for us, I thought. Then I saw the tracks behind the drag. Bare feet, one set. I stopped. Brenna followed my eyes. The prints began at the edge of the pine stand. They had not come from us. Torvald saw my face. "What?" "Keep moving." "What?" "Keep moving." Brenna gripped the hammer. We moved faster. The bare prints followed. I tried to tell myself one draugr had found another crack. The old tomb had cuts all through the mountain. The dead miner work proved men had opened it before. A body could have come out somewhere else. That did not help. The prints stayed 40 paces behind when we were slow. They stayed 40 paces behind when we were fast. We never saw the body making them. Snow filled each print after a minute, yet a new one came at the edge of sight. Brenna whispered, "Do not stop." I was not going to. "Good." Torvald tried to sit up on the drag. "Give me the hammer." "Lie down." "Ulfgar." "You cannot stand." "I can swing." "At what?" He had no answer. We reached the old road before noon. Wheel ruts cut the snow. A storm cloak patrol had passed there not long before. I could tell from boot rows and horse marks, though I never saw them. Dawnstar men used that road toward Fort Dunstad in the south. Brenna nearly cried when she saw the ruts. Be people. Maybe. Do not ruin it. We followed the road north. The bare prints came after us. At a rise, the snow thinned for a few steps where wind had scoured the road to hard earth. The tracks vanished there. I stopped despite Brenna warning. No print crossed the dirt. Torvald lifted his head. "Gone?" I checked both sides of the road. No mark in the snow beyond. "Maybe." Brenna gave me a tired smile. "I will take maybe." We went on. A mile later we heard bells from a pack horse. 2 traders came through the snow with a guard. The guard saw us and drew his sword before he knew what we were. I must have made a poor sight with one boot, blood on my face, and a mining hammer in my hand. "Dawnstar?" I called. 1/2 a mile. The trader gave Brenna a fur cloak and Torvald a small red vial, potion of healing. I could have hugged him. Instead, I asked what he wanted for it. He stared at me. "Keep your septums." I near argued from habit. Brenna told me, "Take the gift before I drown you in snow." Torvald drank. The potion did not fix the knee. "Those tales are for fools." It eased the cut and put some color back into his face, enough that he could sit upright on the drag. The traders walked with us to Dawnstar. When the city walls came through the snow, I heard Torvald make a sound I had never heard from him. Small. like a child trying not to cry. I did not tease him. Dawnstar guards took us to a house near the mine road. One fetched a healer. Another ran for Jarl's Skaldmen after Brenna told him what lay under our cut. Hallgrim found us before the healer had finished binding Torvald. He came through the door so hard it hit the wall. For a moment he only stared. Then he crossed the room and struck me in the mouth. Same split lip. I went down on a bench. Fair, I told him. He grabbed my coat and pulled me up. I told you to pull twice. The roof fell. I know the roof fell. I spent a day digging at it. Good work. He hit me again. Brenna called from the bed. Hallgrim, save some for Torvald. Hallgrim let me go and hugged my brother. Torvald winced. Leg. Shut up. The old bastard cried into his hair. We learned what had happened above while we were under. Hallgrim and Ostar dug at the first collapse until a Dawnstar guard made them stop. More roofstone came down. By midday, men from the city had reached the mine, along with a priest of Arche. The priest saw the carvings near the breach and ordered the cut sealed until more help came. Hallgrim did not like that. I asked where Ostar was. Mine, Hallgrim answered. I'm watching the seal. Seal. We packed the crawl cut after it took you. Timber, rock, clay, then posted 2 guards. Torvald and I stared at each other. What? Hallgrim asked. Brenna spoke from the bed. There is another way out. Hallgrim's face went blank. I told him about the old mine and the slope crack. He swore for a long time. By evening, 6 guards, the priest of Arche, Hallgrim, and 2 miners went to find that crack. I wanted to go. The healer pushed me back onto the bench. You have 1 boot. I have another at the mine. You have a cut face, bruised ribs, and 1 foot near raw. All true. Sit. Torvald laughed from the bed. I threw cloth at him. The men came back after dark. They had found our fire. They had found the crack. They had also found the bare tracks. Hallgrim shut the door behind him and leaned against it. They go into the crack, he told us. Brenna frowned. Into? From the trees to the crack. I sat up. No. That is what they saw. They came from the crack. Hallgrim shook his head. Wind may have covered the first ones. The prince followed us to the road. Could be another set. Torvald whispered. Could be. No one liked that answer. The priest of Arche ordered both openings sealed with stone and lime. Jarl Skald sent guards to keep miners away. The owner came to complain about lost iron and left after 1 guard showed him a piece of old carved wall. For 3 days I slept in a chair beside Torvald. Each time I woke, I expected the floor to shake. It did not. Brenna got back on her feet. Her left hand shook when she held a cup, though she tried to hide it. Hallgrim gave her a week pay from his own purse and told the owner it came from lost tools. Torvald fever came on the 2nd night and broke on the 3rd. The healer told him the knee would mend if he stayed off it. He asked how long. A month, maybe 2. He groaned. I told him, good, you can learn to think. He answered, you first. That was better. On the 4th morning, a guard from the mine came to the house. His name was Eric. I knew him from the tavern. Big Nord, red beard, bad cards. He would not sit. Hallgrim asked, what happened? Eric held out a leather pouch. Mine. The one I had lost in the narrow cut below the tomb. My good wedges were still inside, so was my belt buckle. I stared at it. Where? Outside the seal, Eric answered. No one spoke. Which seal? Brenna asked. Main mine. Inside or outside? Eric swallowed. Outside, on the cart track. I took the pouch. Dust coated it. Dark, dry dust from the tomb. One edge had been cut by an axe. Who brought it out? Torvald asked. Eric rubbed both hands over his beard. No one. Guards have held the mine mouth since you came back. The packed wall is whole. Hallgrim whispered a curse. I checked the pouch again. Tucked under the wedges was a strip of old black cloth. Draugr wrapping. Brenna saw it and backed away from the table. Torvald went white. Eric left 2 guards at the door that night. By noon the next day, word had spread through Dawnstar. It always does. A fisherman heard from a guard, told his wife, and by supper half the city knew we had opened a dragon cult tomb under the hills. The tale grew with each mouth. Some had us fighting 20 draugr. Some said the dragonborn had been with us. One woman swore we had found a dragon egg. Torvald wanted to go home. Our house was a one-room place south of the city, near enough to the road that we could hear carts. I did not want him there alone. Hallgrim offered his spare bed. Torvald refused. I have slept under that roof since Mother died. I am not letting dead men move me. You cannot walk. I can hobble. Fine. You can hobble at Hallgrim House. Ulfgar. No. He stared at me. I stared back. Brenna muttered, "You two make me glad I had sisters." He came to my house instead. That was the worst choice we made after leaving the tomb. Not because it killed anyone. Because the thing following us learned where we slept. The first night passed with no trouble. The second I woke to 3 knocks on the door. Pause. 3 knocks. My eyes opened in the dark. Torvald was awake on the bed across the room. I could tell by his breath. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. I reached for the hammer beside my chair. Torvald whispered, "Do not." I know. The latch did not move. No one tried the handle. The knock came again. Minor call. Alive. My skin prickled along both arms. I crossed to the window and lifted one edge of the hide curtain. Snow lay white in the yard. No one at the door. No prints. 3 knocks came from behind me. Not the door. The floor. Torvald sat upright. I faced the boards. 3 knocks rose from under the house. Pause. 3 knocks. Our house had no cellar. I took Torvald under one arm and got him outside through the rear. We spent that night at Hallgrim Place with 6 guards and a priest of RK. At dawn, they tore up my floor. Under the boards was packed earth. Under the earth was rock, no shaft, no old grave, no hole. The priest blessed the house. I did not sleep there again. Torvald blamed himself. He did not say it at first. He stopped joking. That was how I knew. He would sit with the bad leg up and stare at his hands. If Brenna came by, he would ask about her shoulder instead of making fun of it. That was worse than fever. On the 6th day, I found him trying to pull on his boot. "Where are you going?" "Mine." "No. I have to see the seal." "No." It followed me. It followed us. The wall called me. The priest woke for me. "You do not know that. Your pouch came out. The knocks came to your floor after I slept there." "Our floor." He glared. "You know what I mean." I sat beside him. For once, I did not have a hard answer ready. "When you were by the word wall," I asked, "what did you hear?" He rubbed his thumb over a scar on his palm. "You." What did I say? My name first, then... He swallowed. Then Mother. I stared at him. Her voice? Yes. What did she say? "Come down." I did not speak. Then Father, same words, then you again. Our father had been dead 20 years, Mother 12. Torvald looked at me. I knew both were dead, my legs still moved. "You were hurt. Do not make it small." That anger in him was good. I could work with anger. Fine, it was bad. I went to the wall. The priest box opened. If I had not, it might still be shut. "And if you had waited under the first slit, the draugr might have killed you." Maybe. "If I had not chased you, Brenna would not have near drowned." "That is different." "No. You came for me. You ran from dead men. Same rule. We did what the next breath needed. He shook his head. I grabbed his boot and threw it across the room. You are not going back. Then what? We let men who know tombs deal with it. Who? Priest, guards, College of Winterhold, graybeards, dragonborn. Pick a damned hero. He laughed despite himself. You hate mages. Today I love every mage in Skyrim. That was the last easy laugh we had. Brenna came in before dusk with Eric behind her. Eric carried a wrapped bundle. I knew from his face that I did not want to see it. He set the bundle on Hallgrim's table and opened the cloth. Inside lay a miner helmet, Dawnstar helmet, dented at one side, lamp hook bent. Hallgrim rose so fast his chair fell. Where is he? Eric could not meet his eyes. Gone. The word sat there. Gone where? He had North watch at the mine seal. 8th bell to midnight. Guard with him went around the shed to piss. Came back and Dawnstar was gone. Helmet by the seal. Hallgrim grabbed Eric's coat. Tracks? One set from the shed to the seal. His. Away? None. Torvald whispered. Inside. Eric looked at him. The seal is whole, he told us. I asked. Knocks? Eric's face changed. How did you know? Brenna sat down. Hallgrim let Eric go. How many? I asked. 3. Pause. 3. Dawnstar told the guard it was miners on the far side. He went near the wall. Torvald closed his eyes. The dead had learned us, or the priest had. I did not care which by then. Jarl Skald men shut the whole mine that night. No one entered. 2 guards watched from 50 paces away with braziers and horns. The priest of RK sent for help from the Hall of the Vigilant, though I did not know if word would reach them. The College of Winterhold was farther and had its own troubles. At dawn, the guards found Dawnstar standing outside the mine. I did not see him alive. I saw what came after. They brought him to the city bound to a door because no one wanted to touch him. He breathed. His eyes were open, he would not speak. The healer checked him. No frostbite, no cuts except a shallow line across his forehead. His boots were gone. Both feet were black with tomb dust. Hallgrim knelt beside him and asked where he had been. Dawnstar stared at the wall. Brenna tried. No answer. Torvald hobbled close on a stick. Dawnstar's eyes moved to him. His lips opened. 3 dry clicks came from his teeth. Pause. 3 clicks. Torvald dropped the stick. I pulled him back. Dawnstar smiled. I had known that man 11 years. He smiled rarely. When he did, one side of his mouth rose higher because of an old scar. Both sides rose even then. Hallgrim whispered, "That is not him." The priest of RK ordered everyone out. Dawnstar screamed. The sound was not words. It carried the same weight I had heard below the tomb. Lamps jumped on the table. A cup cracked. The priest raised his holy symbol and began a prayer. Dawnstar's body arched against the ropes. His mouth opened wider. Blue light showed behind his teeth. The guards dragged the door out into the snow. Dawnstar stopped moving before they reached the street. He was dead by noon. The body burned before dusk. No one argued. Torvald did not speak for the rest of that day. At night he told me, "It came out with us." I answered, "Yes." He waited for me to soften it. I did not. What do we do? I stared at the hammer on Hallgrim's table. We close every way we opened. They are sealed. Not the old mine. Brenna from the far bench snapped, "No." I had forgotten she was awake. "You heard, Eric. The slope crack is packed." Packed from outside. The old cut still joins the tomb. There may be more cracks. And you plan to crawl back in? I plan to bring the roof down from the mine side. With what? Timber, wedges, men. Brenna got to her feet. No. Dawnstar is dead. Which is why no one goes back. If more come out, then guards kill them. Could guards see what followed us in the snow? She had no answer. Torvald spoke from the bed. "I am coming." Brenna and I told him no at the same time. He smiled a little. "Good. You agree on one thing." Hallgrim came in during the argument. He listened. Then he sat by the hearth and rubbed the stumps of his 2 missing fingers. "There is an old prospect cut above the sealed mine," he told us. "Owner tried it before your time, Ulfgar. Goes down toward the east seam. Never paid." I knew the mouth, half-caved and full of brush. "Does it meet our work? Maybe. Maybe is enough." Brenna cursed both of us. Hallgrim raised one hand. "I did not say we go tonight. We take guards. We take the RK priest. We take enough timber to choke the cut. We do it in daylight. And Torvald stays here," I added. Torvald threw a cup at me. His aim was poor from the bed. The plan lasted until morning. At first light, one of the guards posted at the mine came running into Dawnstar. Both seals had been opened from the inside. No rock lay scattered outward. No tool marks showed. The packed walls had been pulled apart stone by stone and stacked in neat rows. Ostar tracks led from the main seal into the snow. Beside them ran bear prints, one set. The prints went toward Dawnstar. That changed the work. We did not go to the mine. The mine had come to us. Jarl Skald ordered the mine road closed before noon. Guards took the south gate, the old prospect cut, and every path that led near our claim. The priest of RK wanted the tomb sealed under stone and left alone until men with more learning came from the College of Winterhold or one of the halls that dealt with the dead. No miner argued with him. Hallgrim did not even argue about the lost ore. That told me how bad it had become. The main breach was packed with stone, clay, and fresh timber. The slope crack where Brenna, Torvald, and I had come out got the same. Men worked from the outside only. If a hammer answered from within, they were to drop their tools and leave. Torvald sat by the window while they worked. His bad leg lay on a stool. He kept watching the south road. "You think it is still coming for me," he told me. "I think you need to stop guessing what dead priests want. That means yes. That means drink your broth." He made a face at the bowl. Brenna came in with her left hand wrapped from the burns she had taken in the cave. She put a new hammer on the table beside me. "For when you decide to crawl under another hill." "I am done with hills." She stared at me. "Fine," I told her. "I am done with that hill. Better." Hallgrim came after dusk. He had Ostar tools in a sack. No one wanted them left at the mine. He put the sack by the hearth and sat without taking off his coat. "Seal is done," Torvald asked. "Any knocks?" Hallgrim's jaw tightened. 3 times. No one spoke after that. The next day brought no bear tracks through Dawnstar. The day after that brought none. Dogs stopped barking at blank walls. Guards at the south gate heard no voices. The mine stayed shut. On the 5th day, the owner came to Hallgrim and asked when work would begin again. Hallgrim told him to mine it himself. That was the last we heard from the owner. Torvald fever eased. Brenna's hand stopped shaking when she held a cup. My ribs hurt when I laughed, so Torvald tried to make me laugh whenever he could. By the 7th morning, Dawnstar had begun to act as if the whole thing belonged to a tale already. Men in the tavern argued over how many draugr we had seen. One claimed I had killed a dragon priest with a pick. Another swore the dragonborn had sealed the tomb for us. I let them talk. The truth was poorer and meaner. We had run. We had crawled. Brenna had near gone under black water. Torvald had left half his blood on old stone. I had dropped a roof and hoped it landed on the right dead men. That was enough. Hallgrim made a marker for Ostar from a flat bit of granite. No fine carving. Ostar, then the years he had worked beside us. Under the name, he cut a small pick. We carried it to the edge of the closed road before sunrise. Torvald came on a crutch. Brenna walked beside him. Hallgrim carried the marker. I carried a flask of mead and the new hammer. Snow had fallen in the night, fresh, deep, untouched beyond the gate. We set the stone where miners would have passed it on the way to work. Hallgrim pressed it into the crust and poured a mouthful of mead at the base. Brenna muttered, "Waste." "By your own dead friend," he told her. She gave him the flask and poured another mouthful. Torvald leaned on the crutch and studied the white hills south of Dawnstar. "Do you hear it?" he asked me. I listened. Wind moved over the road. A cart creaked inside the city. Somewhere near the docks, a gull screamed. No hammer, no voice. "No." Torvald nodded. We started back. I counted our tracks without meaning to. Hallgrim heavy boots, Brenna narrow heels, Torvald one boot and the round bite of the crutch. Mine beside them. 4 people had gone to the marker. Halfway to the gate, Torvald caught my sleeve. He pointed behind us. A 5th trail crossed the new snow. Bare feet. The prints began beside Ostar Stone. They did not come from the south road. They did not come from the hills. The first bare mark sat right at the marker, deep enough to show 5 long toes. The next lay 2 paces nearer to us, then another. Brenna took the hammer from my hand. Hallgrim raised his axe. Torvald whispered, "We came out." I kept my eyes on the trail. "Yes." "All 3 of us." "Yes." He swallowed. Ostar had come back later, breathing and warm, but the man we knew had never spoken again. Whatever had used his mouth had learned our miner call. Whatever had called Torvald with our mother voice had heard us under the mountain. The priest body might still lie under stone. I had no wish to see. The bare prints kept coming toward us. One appeared in the snow, then the next. No body stood above them. We backed toward Dawnstar. At the gate, the prince stopped. I almost laughed from relief. Then a guard inside the city shouted. Far down the street, from under the floor of an empty house, Wood took 3 slow knocks, a pause, and 3 more.